You know that person who lights up when plans get canceled? The one who says, maybe next time, with just a little too much relief in their voice? That person isn't flaky. They're protecting something precious. If you're someone who feels a genuine wave of joy when Friday night means your couch instead of a crowded bar, welcome. You're about to understand why you're wired this way. And today, we're breaking down the psychology of people who truly love staying home, the ones society calls antisocial, but science calls something completely different. Here's what most people don't understand. Some nervous systems are built like solar panels. They need constant external input to generate energy. But others are built like wells, deep, quiet, and they fill from within. Every party, every dinner, every quick coffee that turns into 3 hours, it doesn't add to their energy. It depletes it drop by drop. Psychologists call this differential arousal regulation. Extroverts have naturally lower baseline arousal, so they seek stimulation to feel alive. But people who love staying home, their baseline is already higher. The world is already loud enough. They don't need more input, they need less, and home is the only place where the volume is finally right. But it goes deeper than just introversion. Some people love staying home because it's the only place where they can exist without performance. Out there, you're always on stage, monitoring your face, your tone, your energy, reading the room, matching the vibe, laughing at jokes that aren't funny because everyone else is laughing. It's exhausting. At home, you can finally drop the mask. You can be weird, quiet, half-dressed, fully yourself. No one's judging your playlist or asking why you're eating cereal for dinner. For people with high sensory sensitivity or social anxiety, this isn't just comfort, it's oxygen. Here's something fascinating. Research shows that people who enjoy solitude and home time aren't less happy. They're just happy differently. They don't need external validation or constant novelty to feel fulfilled. Their joy comes from internal sources, a good book, a personal project, the satisfaction of a clean space, the freedom to think uninterrupted. Psychologists call this autonomous self-regulation. These people have figured out how to generate their own contentment without depending on the world to provide it. That's not loneliness. That's actually a kind of emotional self-sufficiency most people never develop. And let's talk about what society gets wrong. We worship the yes people, the ones who are always down, always available, always making memories. But what if making memories feels less important than having space to process the memories you already have? What if your best life isn't documented on social media, but lived quietly in moments no one else sees? There's this cultural assumption that staying home equals missing out. But missing out on what exactly? Overpriced drinks, small talk with strangers, the anxiety of wondering if you're having as much fun as you look like you're having. For people who love staying home, going out feels like missing out on peace, on rest, on the things that actually restore them. Now here's where we have to be honest. Some people stay home for darker reasons. Depression that makes the outside world feel impossible. Social anxiety that turns every invitation into a threat. Trauma that taught them the world isn't safe. For them, home isn't a choice, it's a hiding place, and there's a difference. So ask yourself this, do you stay home because it genuinely fills you up, or because leaving feels too heavy to face? Do you feel peaceful when you're alone, or just less anxious? Because one is preference, the other is avoidance, and knowing the difference matters. But for those who genuinely love staying home, who feel lighter when they close their front door instead of heavier, they're not broken. They've just found something most people spend their whole lives searching for, a place where they can be completely themselves without apology. These people find richness in routines others would call boring, the Saturday morning ritual, the specific way they make their coffee, the corner of the couch that's perfectly worn in, the golden hour light through the bedroom window. They notice these things because they're present enough to see them. Most people are too busy chasing the next experience to appreciate the one they're in. Psychologists call this savoring, the ability to extract deep satisfaction from simple moments. People who love staying home have mastered it. They don't need the world to entertain them because they've learned to be fascinated by stillness. Their inner world is so rich, so full of thoughts and ideas and quiet observations that external stimulation feels redundant. And here's what the extroverts will never understand. Staying home isn't about doing nothing, it's about doing everything that actually matters to you. Reading without interruption, thinking without distraction, creating without performance pressure, existing without explanation. These aren't small things, they're the things that make life feel like yours. Studies on people with low stimulation preference show they're often more creative, more introspective, and better at sustained focus. Makes sense, right? When you're not constantly fragmenting your attention across social obligations, you have actual bandwidth for depth, for the kind of thinking that only happens in silence, for the kind of peace that only exists in solitude. So if you're someone who turns down invitations without guilt, who feels genuinely excited about a night alone, who rather rewatch your comfort show than force yourself into someone else's idea of fun, listen, you're not missing out. You're just living according to your actual needs instead of society's script. You're choosing depth over noise, authenticity over performance, peace over fear of missing out. And that's not sad or strange. That's self-awareness. That's knowing yourself well enough to protect your energy instead of apologizing for it. The world will keep insisting you're missing something, that real life happens out there, not in here. But you know better. You know that real life happens wherever you feel most alive. And if that's at home, in your favorite chair, with your favorite people, or just yourself, then that's exactly where you should be. Tell me, do you genuinely love staying home, or do you think people like us are just afraid of living? And if you want to understand the other ways you're wired differently, the next video breaks down why some of us feel everything so intensely, it'll make everything click.